Alright, so after you install tyFlow, you're gonna get this tyFlow button right in Max under the Create tab, and you can just create tyFlow in your scene. Now the size of the icon doesn't matter, and where you put it in your scene doesn't matter either. It has no effect on what's actually happening inside of tyFlow, so you don't have to worry about that. Now then you can just go under the Modify tab and click Open the Editor, and that's gonna open the actual tyFlow editor. So one thing I want you to notice is up here it says tyFlow 001. That's the one we're working in right now. Now if I go under Create tab and create another tyFlow, you can see that now we get it over here. So we have tyFlow 002. So we have two tyFlows within the same window, and I can click on New and create another one, and now a third one pops up in my scene. So this is an easy way to work on multiple flows in one window. So I'm gonna delete these two and just leave tyFlow 001 over here. So you wanna think about the best way to work. If you have a big monitor or you have more than one monitor, usually you would just drag this onto your second monitor and work on this one. Now I have to sort of record this course in one window, so I'm just gonna leave tyFlow on the left and work on the right, usually in the perspective view over here. Now as far as tyFlow itself, it's very, very powerful, but it's also very simple and everything sort of makes sense. So you get your operators down here, and you can drag those operators into your main window here, and then you just add operators to get the kind of effect that you're going after. Now, it may seem like there are so many operators here, but everything is color-coded. So you get your green birth operators here, then you can modify particles with these blue operators. You get your, basically everything has to do something with polygons. You get your shell, your shape, your edge fractures, all of that is this sort of beige color. Then you get your cloth and particle binds are purple. You get your physics modifiers, and you get your conditions, which are yellow. So really, if you look at it, and then you have VDBs, which are this sort of brownish color, right? But like, as soon as you color code it, you realize there's maybe 5 or 6 of these main groups. And usually we'll just start with a birth operator, then maybe you're gonna modify those particles, or you're gonna turn it into shapes. You're gonna see how everything works when we work on the actual projects, but I really just want you to not be intimidated by the sheer amount of operators. And you can also see that here, how everything is grouped together. So you can just click on these individual icons to only get the operators that are in that particular group. And that way you can easily access just the cloth and particle bind operators. You can just access the conditions, or you can just display everything here. Now, one thing I really want you to know about and use is this press tab for quick type. So instead of searching for the operator that you want, you can just put your mouse where you want the new operator to be, hit tab, and then you can just type maybe force and hit enter, and it's gonna put the force operator right there. So it's a very handy shortcut, because as you get familiar with tyFlow, you're gonna get really tired of always looking for the operator you want. So the ability to just hit tab and type what you want, maybe let's do grow, will save you a lot of time. So as far as the operators themselves, whenever you click on an operator, you get this little note telling you what the operator does. So especially if you're new and you're learning, it pays off to go and click through these one by one and just read what they do. Even if you don't know exactly what some of this means and what it does, you can learn a lot just by clicking through these and sort of reading what they do. As soon as you put an operator in here, so maybe let's do path follow, you're gonna get all of the settings for that particular operator on the right side over here. So you have tons of options to modify all of these. You also have this light bulb, so you can turn an operator on or off. So you can see we already have some particles over here sort of by accident. You can turn that node completely off with this light bulb. So that's very, very handy. You can also right click and say rename. So I can rename this my particles group, right? So it's important to name your nodes, especially if you have a lot of nodes here. It can get confusing, and the ability to rename things can keep things organized for you. Now, one more thing that I want you to know in this introductory lesson is if you right click, you can say disable flow. So a lot of times things can get very heavy, especially if you're doing something like destruction. and tyFlow will keep updating in real time whenever you change something. So let's say I'm on frame 30 and I have like a wall collapsing or something heavy happening. Now, as soon as I change a setting, tyFlow will update again from 0 and calculate every frame until 31. So if you want to stop it from happening, you can always just disable the flow, change the numbers, change the settings, and then say enable flow again and let it update from there. So there are more settings here and more things that you can do, but we're gonna go over those throughout the course. I don't want to overwhelm you with all this stuff in the very beginning. This is pretty much all you need to get started. So just to recap, you create tyFlow here in the Create tab, Standard Primitives tyFlow. If you create more than one tyFlow, they show up over here. You can also easily create a new tyFlow up here and it will show up in the viewport for you. You have all of the operators down here and they are color coded, and you can access just that particular operator group with these handy shortcuts up here, so you can easily access what you want. Don't forget you have your right click menu to rename or copy the node. You have the light bulb over here. You can hit tab to easily search for operators, and you have also these handy tips on the right side here to tell you what each operator does. So that's pretty much enough just to get us started, and I'll see you in the next video.